Welcome back. All right, so news of the day video for all you fine people for your Wednesday, November the 16th. Starting off with Columbus. So I assume that Peake's okay today because he came back into that game last night, but he is a Columbus Blue Jackets player, so who knows? Jake Bean was hurt during last night's game. Lower body injury or upper body injury for him. Merzlikins lower body injury. Gonna guess it's the leg that he couldn't put any weight on as he left. I haven't seen an update yet on how long they could be out. But again, for Columbus, a team that's got off to a rough start this year, and it looks like they're on the cusp of maybe turning it around. It's tough timing. At least Johnny Gaudreau came out and has told media he's happy in Columbus. He likes the team and he's glad he's there. So that's one thing, right? Now for Montreal fans, Drouin's out 4 to 6 weeks with an upper body injury. Drouin, the amount of injuries he's had over the last few years is just disheartening. And it is too bad because Jonathan Drouin, a player that when he was drafted was expected to become at least a star on some level in the National Hockey League, and it just hasn't worked out for him the way that it was expected to. They've recalled Rem Pitlick from the American League, so he will likely be in their lineup for their next game, and we'll see how things go for Montreal. New Jersey fans, of course, the winning streak has hit 10. 10 straight for the New Jersey Devils. After years and years of suffering, it looks like the New Jersey Devils are finally one of the better teams in the National Hockey League. So that's something that's going on. I know they're at the highest level they've ever been on my power rankings board after all of yesterday's results came through. So we'll see if it stays that way till Saturday. We're halfway through the week, so maybe. But anyways, yeah, a 10-game winning streak is very impressive. Some milestone news from last night, of course, Steven Stamkos. Reaches 500 assists last night. He's getting close to 1,000 points as well. Has 989 points, which means, of course, he has 489 goals. He was flying in terms of goal scoring at the start of the year, and then it went ice cold. But he did get a goal, so maybe he's ready to go on another hot streak. Yeah, for Stamkos, he should hit 500 goals, I would think, before we hit 2023. So yeah, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that I think Stamkos can get 11 goals before December 31st. Sure. We'll see if that takes place. Tavares finally reached 400 goals. He was at 399 for I think it was 3 or 4 games since his last goal. So he's reached 400 in his career. I've done videos on Tavares not that long ago, so not doing a new video on that. I don't anticipate doing a video on Stamkos till he reaches 1,000. At 1,000 points, yeah, then we have a Stamkos video that needs to be made. But yeah, Tavares, congratulations on his 400th goal last night in a game that Toronto, it felt like a statement game against Pittsburgh. Again, with teams in the NHL, it just feels like momentum is tricky, where, you'll see one really good game and you'll think, all right, they're turning around, then nope. And it's not just Toronto. There are a lot of cases of that. So we'll see how things go for the Leafs from here. Mike Grier, I don't know. See, this is one of those things where reporters will ask him, and they had the GM's meetings, and they'll ask him, so would you listen if somebody called you about Erik Karlsson? And his answer is, yeah, if somebody calls, I'd be willing to listen. Karlsson has a full no movement clause, so even if Grier's listening and Karlsson says no, it doesn't matter what Grier hears. Not only that, but that cap hit of over $11 million a year, and the fact there's a lot of term left. I think that there's a lot being made of the fast start that Karlsson's gotten off to, but I can't imagine that there are general managers around the NHL that are now clamoring to add that contract to their cap situation. It might be easier to trade Karlsson in this coming off season than it would be right now. And Karlsson said he's happy in San Jose, so I think that if Grier was going to do this, it would have to be with Erik as well. And I just don't see it happening. But I saw, TSN, if the trade board, he's going to end up being at the top of the trade board, which may very well be the case. What are you after? He may end up being at the top of the trade board, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's getting traded. Like I said, with the term, with the cap hit, with all of that, I think it makes it tough to trade him. But if you ask a GM, are you willing to listen? And he goes, yeah. It doesn't mean that the player's on the trade block. There are players that I'm sure GMs would listen to trade offers. I'm sure you could call Ron Hextall and say, so we're willing to make an offer for Crosby. He might have to mute the phone to stifle some giggling. But honestly, I just find that weird. So I do expect there to be all kinds of where's Karlsson going? Who's getting what for Karlsson? Oh, maybe the Rangers will make him because the Rangers are going to be in the trade, or the Leafs, right? The Rangers and the Leafs, maybe the Kings, right? Like you've got to play the hits. So yeah, I don't think Karlsson's going anywhere personally. Just personally, that contract makes it tough. Dorian is trying to make some moves for the Ottawa Senators. I've seen he might be trying to add a defenseman. I will say that they could use another veteran on the blue line with the injuries that they're going through. But he's talked about the frustration of the team, and he, again, when asked, said he has full faith in DJ Smith as the coach. So that means Smith's going to be fired in, a week? It feels like that's the case usually with NHL coaches, but we shall see. I want to talk a bit about Ovechkin as we're talking about various plateaus and milestones being reached. Ovechkin right now in 18 games now has 8 goals, 6 assists, 14 points. Alarmingly, he has a minus 15. Now, plus minus is a number that you don't rely on a whole lot, but that's a bad one. Minus 15 in 18 games is, well, I mean, think of it this way. If you have a 15 under par on a golf course in 18 holes, you're pretty happy. Think about that in the opposite, and that's kind of where Ovechkin's at with the minus 15. But what he's on pace for is 36 goals, 27 assists, 63 points. Now, 36 goals is very good, right? The 36-goal season at his age is very good. The minus 68 he's on pace for, less good. But the thing with Ovechkin is that if he does end up staying on this pace and gets 36 goals, that leaves him at 816, which would leave him ahead of Gordie Howe. Gretzky, 894 goals. So I still think Ovechkin catches Gretzky. I still think that's going to happen. But if he only but if he puts up 36 goals this year, it does become a little more difficult if we see that drop. And eventually, every player does drop off. We saw that with Jágr. Jágr was a very useful player, point per game guy mostly. And then it just kind of, it just kind of fell off. The scoring fell off. Now, Jágr's still playing, and I could see Ovechkin playing until he's 50 as well. But at some point in time, the NHL is just, it's so fast, it's so intense, and it does get tougher as you get older. So while I've talked for years about how Ovechkin has defied the aging process, I do wonder with some of the games I've watched, some of the shots that he's taking, and just, I don't know, something seems off, and maybe it's Washington itself. The team is underperforming. They're currently 7-9-2 through 18 games. So we're kind of past the point where it's early, because that's over 20% of the way through the season. And again, whether Ovechkin's struggles are tied to the Caps or vice versa, something just feels off a little bit with Ovechkin. He's had those seasons before. It's not the first time it's happened, but we'll see how things turn out. And if he does end up with 36 goals, what that does to his chase for Gretzky, which I still think he gets. He's got enough time left on his contract that I still think he catches that record. But does this start to the season change your opinion on it? Yes or no? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about any of the items on this board, including the fact that you're going to be inundated for the next little while on what's it going to take to get Karlsson, who's going to be in on Karlsson, who wants Erik Karlsson. With that cap hit, I don't know that anybody does. But let me know if you think that's incorrect as well. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.